Hi, everyone. I'm Vone, owner and maker of Vone Knits, and you are here with Sarah Price from SewShop. I'm so glad that I got her on here. I just been talking to her for the past couple of weeks, and I was like, I have to get you on this creative interview. So I literally wiped off the cobwebs of this laptop and cleaned the screen. So I'm hitting the record button so I can chat with Sarah Price right now. Hi, Sarah.
Hey,
So how did you come up with SewShop? Tell everybody what SewShop is.
SoShop came out of my personal and business Instagram feed. Um, I had an Etsy, and I started to get into the makers community, and I started sharing more other makers products than my own. So I ventured off into SoShop so that I can keep sharing all the makers because it's so fun. Because I really think we should be community over competition. Um, so I started that so that we could continue and I could still share my stuff on my feed.
This is probably what really drew me to you in the first place, because that's how I came on the internet scene. Is I love sharing other makers, and that we are not competitors. We help each other. Like, the stronger another maker is, the stronger I become, and we are only as strong as our weakest link. So we
Yes.
want to make every weak link stronger. So I love this concept of social, and I love what you're doing. So I would say I recruited because I think Sarah Price's uh, Instagram feed, like as a maker and a crafter, and I think I was the one that I think I invited you to
I
the
think
to the
so.
Dare to Be Original, and I said, we have a group of awesome makers. You really need to join. And
Yeah.
then and Sarah was in and out for a little bit, and then the next thing I know, I'm like, and I didn't realize that you were selling. I don't think you were steady selling. Were you on Etsy for a little bit?
No, I was more seasonal
More
because I was
seasonal,
doing like
right? So
scarves.
that's
Yeah.
right, because we're sister scarf makers.
Yes.
But you're not only a knitter, you also crochet.
Yes, I've been crocheting for I don't even think a year. But my grandma
You're a
taught me when
Yuki
I was
crocheter.
little,
Mhm.
but I never really I could do a chain and
Mhm.
then I couldn't I'm left-handed and she was right-handed, so she's like,
Oh.
It's backwards." So
Mhm.
I found some good YouTube videos and taught myself.
That's awesome. That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
But you're also a tri uh, crafter, because you also stitch, like you knit,
Yeah.
you sew. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
I
trying to
do a
say.
little bit of everything. I've always been into crafts, like we were always crafting and making growing up, so anything crafty, I like it.
I love it. I love it. So we're gonna fast forward. So all of a sudden, we're gonna fast forward to Sarah had a baby, and she's a stay-at-home mom. And then the next thing I know, I'm like, "What are you doing these days on Instagram?" And she's like, "Well, I have this online craft show that I'm getting ready for." And I thought that you were just preparing for an online craft show, and I thought, that's genius. I'll help promote you. I'll help get the word out, because I love helping. And then the next thing I know, I'm like, she's running it. I'm like, you're running an online craft show? I'm like,
Yeah.
that is so awesome. That's what I was like, I need to know more. I need to know more. So I like have been nonstop blowing up her DM of everything that she's doing. And then I'm also really happy to find out that I just won an entry to be in her November craft show. So she just had one, a really successful one in October. So that's over with. So I was like, okay, then we need to turn on this camera, and we need to get everybody to get involved and find out what this show is. So I'm going to be a part of the November vendor. So make sure you guys sign up. The link will be in the description below of how to get a hold of Sarah and get yourself as a vendor for the November show. So let's talk a little bit more about, how does this online craft fair work?
So it's really simple. Essentially, we all as makers, we post online and we're always promoting ourselves, right? So, um, and we spend a lot of hard work and time on our uploads and getting our items up and everything. And so I thought about it's always hard for us to grow organically as single entities, but what if we did it together? Because then we could all show our customers all the other makers and stuff like that. So essentially what you're doing is you're still posting like you usually do on Instagram, but you're including the hashtag crafty spot shop hashtag, and then all your customers, friends, and family, they can follow that hashtag and see all the vendors at once.
Mhm.
And then I also created a Facebook group for those that like Facebook. And there's some of the older generation is not necessarily on Instagram, so it kind of covers both sides. And then you can kind of do a little bit more descriptive. On Facebook, you can go live, you can introduce yourself, you can show videos, and then really just promote yourself and your work. And it's just a way to get people to your Etsy or your website that you've worked really hard on, in a different aspect. So you're just posting as you usually do, and then on my feeds, I shout out all the vendors, I do stories, we do giveaways, all that fun stuff. So it's a way to focus your time on your shop for a few days and connect with makers and get some sales and stuff like that.
It's an absolutely genius idea that you've come up with this. It's honestly, it's what I've for some time last year. Before I took my long hiatus, sometime last year, I tried to come up with something called the Handmade Hub, and that's essentially what I was trying to do. That was what the vision that I was going for, was to share something on my website that shares other makers so that it would link to their shop. You know what I mean? And it was just a way to show like the internet, like there are other makers in one platform where you don't have to, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and it was like I was trying to, but I didn't know how to execute it, and I wasn't sure
Mhm.
the finish, but I just knew that it was a great concept. So watching you come up with this and executing this so brilliantly, like it's amazing. And for the cost to join this thing is so minimal considering all the we're talking minimal. What is the price?
It's $15 for the 3 days, so it's essentially $5 a day.
It's literally a cup a day for 3 days, a cup of coffee for 3 days, and you get. Last year you had just under 50 vendors, and that's for last month, and that's a huge, huge like community to
Yeah.
be a part of. You know what I mean? And I've gotten to know so many, like what, so you just had one October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. I've gotten to know
Mhm.
so many other shops. I have Dare to Be Original that I feel like I know a lot of makers, but
Uh-huh.
these are makers that I've never even seen. But I only recognize one person, Sultana's
Yeah.
Crochet, from the entire thing. And I'm like, wow, there are so many other awesome makers that I haven't even connected with. You know what I mean? And I thought I've connected with a lot of makers. But
Yeah,
it,
the
like
community is
that's
huge.
what essentially how great the, like, you know what I mean, this thing is. And I was like, for that price, to get yourself out there, to get known, to get seen, to get to be a part of something really amazing, one sale you're gonna make that back. You can't
Yeah.
even say that about any other craft show that you are a part of. When you have to lug things up, you're setting up for a real craft fair,
Uh-huh.
aren't you? An in-person
Yeah.
craft fair. So the work that takes to get to make an in-person craft show, you know.
Yeah,
And
I'm
you
crazy.
and
I'm doing in person and online at the same
see,
time.
look at, and she's a mommy to a little toddler, I believe, right?
Yes.
And so if anybody thinks that, like, they don't have time, watch Sarah, okay? Because it's not you don't have time, you have to make the time.
Hmm.
And clearly you're making time to do some really great stuff. So
Thank
yeah, I
you.
was like, one sale and you've already paid for itself, and which craft shows you can't even get into now. Like, I think they're like $50 and up. I know one of mine is in this
Yeah.
area for $250, and I think
Oh
my
my gosh,
one
that's a
was
lot.
75,
That's
which is
high.
great.
I thought 80 was bad.
Oh no, it's up there. It can get really crazy really fast, and then to do all that work, and there's a lot of pressure to make that back. But
Mm.
just think about, for 3 cups of coffee, you've gotten to be a part of a community where, like, you're just stronger from that. You get to be surrounded, and you get to know people that are in your shoes, that are surrounded. But not only that, but as a voice of 50 vendors, you can really like propel yourself to show outside of, you know what I mean, of the world, to like, that's how many voices can each person touch, and then you're bringing them along with you, you know what I mean, and all these audiences. I love that it's on Instagram, which is easy. Everybody posts for 2 seconds, you know what I mean, on Instagram, and everybody's always getting inspired on Instagram. But I also love the fact that you're in the Facebook group, because a lot of buyers are on Facebook. I've
Yes.
never tapped into the Facebook buyers, but I know that a lot of makers are very successful selling through Facebook, because a lot of older generations are there shopping, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And they're the ones that appreciate like handmade and personable shops, and small shops. So I think that's a great platform. So that's why I was like, we have to get you on here to talk about it. So you guys join me in November. You're probably gonna hear a whole bunch of me this entire month, because I'm so excited to be doing this thing for November. And then you also have one for December of this year.
Yes. I have one November 1st through 3rd and December 1st through 3rd. I did it at the beginning of the month for those of us, since we're right in the middle of craft show season. I did it at the beginning so that, because both of my in-person craft shows are mid-month. So I
Yeah,
figured, holidays, all that stuff coming up, we'll do it at the beginning. And that way in December, it still gives you time to get your items to your customers in time for Christmas. So.
it's genius. It's absolutely genius. Um, There's also, I just, am I watching you? You have a really busy next year also that you've gotten planned. Can we
Yeah.
talk a little bit about what's going on next year? So you guys, make sure you guys are following SoShop, at SoShop on Instagram, so you can see all the great things that's going on. What's going on for next year? Because I love that concept too.
So I'm brainstorming for next year, and I plan on doing 5 craft shows, again, so that we can show off our hard work, and keeping our views active throughout the year. Most of my vendors, the feedback that I've gotten, they are thinking April is better than March. So I'm setting up an April craft show. We'll do Christmas in July again, and then October, November, and December. So you'll have 5 times to come and join. And then I will be putting a poll up within a few weeks, as I'm planning, to see if anyone is interested in buying, like joining all at once.
Mhm.
That way you just don't have to think about it. You just do it once and done. And I always do discounts as well. So it'd be $12 a show versus 15.
Mhm.
And then I will also have double and triple tickets as well if you don't want to do the July or April show. And I have a double ticket available right now too. So if you want to do the November, December, you can get both for 12.
That's
So
awesome. I
yeah.
love that. That's actually really awesome. And I think a year long to be a part of that for the year is also really cool too. Um, which is still, like I said, if even if for that, just to pay for one advertisement. Have you ever tried to advertise, your shop? Like, if you ever pay for advertising, like
I
it's
did on
insane.
Etsy. Yeah. And for the craft shows, I do paid advertisement on Instagram.
Uh-huh.
So there's a lot more eyes looking than just the ones at the shop. I think the last one I got was almost like 3,000 on SoShop and like 1,000 on the Crafty Spot just through
Uh-huh.
the paid posts. So other than there was 4,000 more people looking. And then I forgot to mention on the Facebook group, I make every vendor a vendor photo booth album. So you send me pictures, just kind of showing off your custom orders, your makes, things that you have in your shop now. That way, if when you're posting, if someone's on at 12 and you don't post till 2, they're not going to see your post. So
Uh-huh.
they can hop over to the albums. And if you visualize like an in-person craft show, you see all the tables and you see all the makes, it's like a virtual table for you.
Uh-huh.
And that doesn't disappear after the craft show. I leave that up all year, and I encourage you to post all year round as well. So essentially, we have our certain weekends or weeks that we do the craft show, but it's almost a craft show all year round because you can share and you can always send me photos. You can say, take these photos off, I'll take them off, I'll upload them,
Mhm.
do whatever. So that's the fun part about the Facebook too, is it continues on. Um, so
Can I just tell you too, do you, for the makers and the sellers, even for non-makers and sellers, you know the work that is entailed, like that Sarah is doing behind the scenes to run Soship, and and uh, and talk a little bit about the Crafty Spot too, because she's running 3 Instagram accounts that I know of. God only knows how many more people, but I know of, that I discovered. I'm talking to one person, and I thought I was talking to 3 people, and then I found out it was all Sarah. I'm like, how is she managing all these 3 accounts so well? And I'm like, it's really amazing that
yeah,
the work
I do
behind.
manage some through social up, so I have I do like 6 or 7 accounts. Yeah,
Awesome. That's
yeah.
awesome. Wow.
So
I'm thoroughly impressed. uh,
it's fun.
so do you have time to craft in the middle of all this? Like,
I haven't made a scarf in like maybe 2 years. I was like making so many scarves and then I wasn't selling as many.
mhm.
So, I gave to local homeless shelters and we drove around one day when it was like -10 out and whoever was on the street, I gave him a scarf and was like, keep warm, like, because
Oh my
it was just
God,
so
Sarah,
cold out.
that
Um,
is so awesome. I've never
yeah.
heard a story like that. I love that.
Yeah, when I was up in Michigan, I sent a box of scarves to another maker that donated to homeless shelters around Detroit. So I did that as well. But I try and do, at least like 20 scarves a year just to, you know, make an impact and help
Mhm,
a little bit where I can. Um, so it's nothing big, but it's
mhm.
something small that I can do. If we all did that, then everyone would be nice and warm.
I know, it's genius, and then they get a little bit of love hug wrapping around their neck for on a cold day. You know what I mean? And they know
Yeah.
that somebody put a lot of time and effort into what they're using. I love that idea. That's amazing. I think I'm going to
Yeah.
keep a pack in my car, maybe for this winter coming up, because I that's really genius.
Yeah.
Um, I so how about a little bit more about? Did I see something? What is this traveling maker that I saw?
Oh, yeah. So that's on SoShop. That's going to be my theme for 2019, and I'm accepting applications completely free. You just have to message me and answer 3 questions. The questions are in the post. But I'm doing like niche shout outs throughout the year. So I think jewelry and handwritten crafts are in January. So for the first half of the month, I'll shout out the 5 makers, and we'll do a giveaway. So some lucky people can win some fun jewelry. And at the end of the month, we'll be doing the handmade crafts. So like all the handwritten crafts. So
Mhm.
people that do like the really pretty lettering, they can, and it's a good way for you to connect um, to makers that make, maybe you're really interested in learning about jewelry. So we'll have some kind of like how-to posts or something like that. I have to get together with each maker and decide what they want to share. But it's really just, next year is really just going to be celebrating makers and getting everyone's name out there. um, a lot of recurring themes for goals that I've seen on Follow Fridays are, increase sales, grow my business. And there's no better way to do that than promoting each other and getting our names out there. So, because you never know who you're going to come across on Instagram.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Oh my God, Sarah, like seriously, you're for every maker. I don't even know how to even get this video out to all the makers so that they can watch this interview and meet you and find out what you're doing, because they need to be a part of what you're doing, because it's a really smart concept, and and just so that you're not alone. You know what I mean? It's when you're a solopreneur, it's really tough to do everything, and the marketing aspect of it and the getting seen and the sharing part of it, like people have a hard time selling themselves, like, you know what I mean, like they love to make, and then they're like, they think that it's because it's done, and they'll take a picture of it, and then they wonder why aren't they going anywhere, why haven't, you know what I mean, why am I not good enough, like why don't
That was
people
me
like
when
my
I
stuff.
started.
Isn't that what they people always say? And I'm like, I always say it's not that you're not good enough. It's nobody knows you. Nobody knows
Yeah.
you exist. Nobody knows it's there. You know what I mean? The world is with billions of people, and the internet is like, this is the time where we have access to literally the entire world, and the entire world has access to you. And as a newbie solopreneur, we don't have, not even just that we don't have the knowledge to get ourselves seen out there, but we also don't have the funds to pay for all these advertisements, to pay for all these different things that people like want. You know, you get bombarded with accounts that say, you know, pay, I'll charge you this to share you on your stuff, and on these fake things. But this is not a fake share. These are organically makers and sellers that know people, that bring buyers and sellers into to know who you are, and from that is the strongest community ever, because it's real people sharing to real people. So
Yeah.
so for what Sarah's doing, if you think it sounds like what's the difference between her and all the other ones, that's the difference. Is it's an organic community that she's growing with makers, and then bringing along aunts and uncles and families, and all the other makers, they see it in the community. You know what I mean? So these are real people in the accounts, and not, and then also shopping through the accounts, like, you know what I mean, like, and you said the rates of people buying off of these shows, like if you get one sale, like I said, it pays for the fee itself. So
Hmm.
you can't really, you know what I mean, you can't really beat that. But just to be a part of her next year's traveling makers, you guys like need to follow this account, because the concept of what you're doing is I is so smart, and I really really hope you for the best of luck in this. Like I really am going to be like watching you grow. You only started Soship in January 2018.
Yes.
This is, you know what I mean, this is a brand new baby of yours, and
Yes.
you're
And we've
watching it.
evolving all year, and
Exactly. I'm
I've
like,
had the posts where people are like, oh, this is a snake, this is, don't follow her, like she's evil, and like, and then I've had the posts where people are, supporting me. And so we've definitely done some revamping, and I try and be as open, and like,
mhm.
this is me, I'm a maker, like I'm for makers, like I'm a maker coming from, um and that's why my fees are probably very underpriced, for
It
all the
is.
time that I put into things. But I'm a maker, and I know, like, wanting to be able to do things, but not because it's too big of a risk. And so I think $15 is a really good platforms to say, even if, if I do the show and I don't even make a sale, at least I'm connecting with makers, I'm getting my name out there, and it was fun. um,
Yes.
Everyone always says it's fun. I, like, connected with so many people, and just like you, like I followed you, and I, like you said, you added me to your Facebook group, and I was still like a new knitter then, and I was like, man, if I could just be as good as her, like my stuff would like fly. But I soon found out that it was much more. If anyone would have told me that I was going to be like a leader in the, like, online marketing realm for small businesses, I'd be like, no, I'm just a knitter. I'm just here to knit and wind down from my job. Like, so it's really fun when you take the barriers down and you just kind of go with it and see where it takes you.
Yes.
So I'm on the ride just like you guys are. So I'm going where you guys take me. So
I oh my God, so many great gems in that, Sarah. Like that. this is why I wanted to this is why I'm so excited for what you're doing. Like I don't think you have, I mean, you might have an idea of how excited I am for you just by me blowing up all your DMs every day and watching all these new things that you're doing. Like I'm like so excited. This is something that I have been, you are doing something that I have been wanting to do for so long, and that's the point of Dare to Be Original in the first place, was a community of makers and lovers of makers, you know what I mean? And but Dare to Be, I didn't want to just focus on just sellers themselves, but I
Mhm.
love the fact that you've honed in on sellers themselves to help handhold them through this process. And that's what, you know, that's what SoShip is. It's just a hand holding of solopreneurs, you know what I mean? So that we march forward together. Like I just love that concept so much. And and Sarah is a real person.
I am. I'm
I
real.
honestly,
I promise.
watching what you're doing, and and just so you know that she's not just like a maker trying to help others. You are also educating yourself, and you're getting certifications in
Yes.
these things about marketing that's helping you. You know what I mean? So you're, it's not the blind leading the blind. It is a uh, somebody with a lot of heart trying to help.
Hmm.
So newbies, right? Is that what, you know what I mean? And you and she's growing as a part of it. And I just like, I cannot wait to see where you are in 5 years. Like I think this concept is brilliant, and I think it's so needed in this community, in our maker community, especially for us newbies that, and I've been doing it for 5 years, for us newbies that are trying to get ourselves out there. And $15 is ridiculously underpriced. But that's what I love about the concept, because who you are trying to help are the people that can barely afford the $15, that are
Mhm.
too afraid to take a risk, and they think that, but it's $15, and $15, I know for a fact, I've been with Sultana forever, and I don't want to speak for Sultana, for Sultana's Crochet, but I know that she's had a blast being a part of your community for this October one.
I'm
And
so
I'm
glad.
so excited to be a part of your November one. And for just even the community that I already know of, I can't wait to be a part of an even bigger community, because watching your October, all those vendors, I don't even know them. You know, like
Yeah.
I can't wait to get to know the next ones. And just imagine what next year is going to be like with, like, it's just, you guys got to be, follow Soship, and you got to be a part of this train, because I'm telling you, she's going to take off fast, and you're going to want these front seats with her now, well, before she takes off so fast, you know what I mean?
The,
So
the
yeah,
tickets are international
definitely.
too. So
What?
the tickets are international too, so you can join from wherever.
It's,
So
that's amazing. Like that's amazing.
I think I had 9 countries for the Christmas in July and 6 different countries in the October show. So, and I think for the vendors that I already have now, I think we're at like 3 or 4 countries. So it'd be awesome to have like, you know, more.
I
So
love
I
that.
keep
Oh my gosh.
I keep upping the ticket amount. So right now I'm at 75. So we'll see.
Sarah, you've got to be promoting this more. I keep telling her, you've got to be promoting this more on Dare to Be Original. The ladies in there, the makers in there, need to know this existence. I don't know how I'm going to shout it out even further, but I probably will, because I'll be in the November show. So by the time they're all done, they're going to think I'm co-running social with you. But I just, like, this is such an awesome concept, and the price is so minimal. So I really highly encourage everybody to be a part of it. At the very least, check out your November, get a part of the November vendor if you think you're going to be too busy for December. But if you're a newbie, I'm going to guess you're going to want to be a part of the December, because that Christmas shopping and that handmade community, like, you want to tap into that, but you don't want to do it alone. Trust me, you don't want to do it alone. Do it as a part of a group. And online fairs is like, this concept is a genius, because you don't have to pack anything. I will probably
Yeah.
never do another in-person show again. Like, I've basically made up my mind like a couple of years ago, that I will never do that again. But I'm excited that I get to do a show again in this year. I never thought I was going to do a show, but to be a part of this thing for November is great. And I'm most likely going to actually, let me just say it right now, I'm definitely going to do December, and I'll probably run it into the next year, because I think this concept is brilliant, and I don't have to pack up my stuff. I can just use my shop, my Etsy shop that I'm already putting work into, that I'm already, you know what I mean, and how they pay. The international concept is genius, because now you've opened it up to a foreign audience, and then the internationals can have access to American buyers. And don't be afraid of shipping internationally, because we're a part of the group, and Sarah's perfectly capable of accessing you to how to send international. I was terrified of making my shop international. I remember, like, I posted in the Dare to Be Original, go like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna do international, like, what the heck. And then I got my first Australian buy, and my biggest country, like, of customers happened to be Australia in the summertime. You know, when you're selling scarves and you thinking that you're not going to make any sales, only in our winter, in the US winter, and I go and make more sales in my summer to an international country, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you never
and
know.
and everybody's so afraid of, like, I just want to touch base on this because we don't talk about it. And I remember it being so, like, scary and such a topic for the international, to make it international, but it ended up being very easy. The postal people are very kind and very, you know, sweet to help you, guide you through it, and they always, like, you cry about, like, the shipping cost, but it's on the customer, and it's not up to us as a seller to judge what the customer will pay for on the shipping price. International people are used to buying over outside their country and paying whatever the shipping cost is. It's a part of their budget. It's what they do. It's how they calculate it. You know what I mean? So don't be shy from that and hold yourself back and have that as a block for you to, my stuff isn't worth international. I've sold a scarf for $20 and they've paid $25 to ship it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And they did it happily, and they gave me a 5-star review, and they were grateful because they had this one-of-a-kind scarf that they loved, and they saw it. Like, so don't limit your thinking into thinking that nobody will pay for your stuff and overpay in shipping, or you think that it's overpaying, but that is up to the customer. You know what I mean? But, and if you're not sure of how to do it, Sarah and or me can easily tell you, walk you through how to send international. Like, so, like, take advantage of that aspect of it, you know, right?
Yeah, I one of my first international orders was a custom request for knitted socks, and I was like, well, I've never done socks before, but I will do them for you. And it was the same thing. The shipping was more than the socks, but they wanted them, and so they got them. So um, plus, I think it's really cool to say something that I touched physically traveled all the way over there, and they're loving that because there's so many makers. They could, they can choose someone locally, but that, they liked it enough that they wanted it from me, and so I'm honored to do that. So it's always fun to see how far you go. So that's the other thing with the traveling maker. That was my theme too, is how far can we go? How far can our makes travel next year? So that was a big inspiration to the theme for next year.
That is so awesome. You know, you just said something really profound, and I just want to touch a bit about that. Is and this relevates back to our theme of that we're not competitors. And so, if you have this weird thinking of that, if you're going to be a part of a group that is that's going to show so many jewelry shops, so why would I want to be a part? Pay for something to be a part of a bunch of jewelry makers and then watch them take away my sales. Like, you need to knock that thinking off real fast. And I want to just quickly touch on that, because to be a part of a group that lets you just like you said, there's a billion, like, shops of where they are, but they chose your, because they wanted your aesthetics, your design stuff, your hands to make something for them, and then they paid more to get it shipped to them, and that was their choice, and that's what they wanted. That's what these customers are when they're picking handmade. They're not looking at everybody as a competitor. The range of what I can do and the range of what you can do, and to have that ability to just point out, that's what people like, you know what I mean? So you want to be a part of people. Like, don't be afraid to be in a community where you think you're going to be, like, for me, and being with scarves, like, I want to be known as the best scarf maker ever. So I'm not going to shun out all the scarf makers of the world. One of my biz besties is the scarf room, which I absolutely love her shop name. I wish I had come up with it before she came up with it, but you know what I mean? Like, Stanka, I haven't seen her in a while. I have to reach out to her. But I was like, just stuff like that. I'm like, because what she makes and what I make are very different. What you make is very different. So it's not up to us to don't let your thinking be afraid to be a part of community where they're doing the same stuff as you, because nobody is doing this. We're all unique, and we all do different things, and we all have different, you know what I mean? So there's nobody else like me. There's nobody else like you. There's nobody else like anybody else. So don't be afraid that you think that to be in a community of that, you know what I mean? And you think they're going to take away sales from you, because they're not. All they're going to do is open eyes and have an expanded creativity where they're like, ooh, you make that, I want that from you, I want that from you. You know what I mean? Like, it's a great world. And so I just wanted to touch that, because there are customers that are like that, that they just seek out what you want to do. So don't be afraid to be in a community that we all do like the same thing, because nobody does the same thing. We're all different,
These are from Pierced Leather. Karen made these. They're my go-to like dress-up earrings, and I can't always wear them when Vivi's around because she loves them too, so she wants to like pull. But my go-to everyday earrings have been the one from Twang's shop. I'm like really bad at pronouncing. I think it's the Abil handmade jewelry. She's in the top 15 for the
okay.
the maker of the year 2018. And I got those for in the Christmas in July shop. So I'm also known to, I'm a big online shopper. Everyone makes fun of me for it because I buy like everything online. And I'm also a big handmade supporter. And so all of my Christmas presents this year are from the vendors from my craft shows. So I've bought only from the vendors in the craft shows, and then so I can continue to support them and give them to my family and show them off. So birthday presents, Christmas presents this year are all from my vendors.
I love that. Is it the Pierced Leather? I've just been watching their stuff. Their stuff is amazing, and I learned about them through SoShop, and I'm like, their stuff is wild. I'm definitely going to be purchasing something from that shop for this season as well.
Yeah, I have like 10 more pairs of earrings on my watch list. These are the mini size for reference, but I love them. They're super soft and they're just adorable, and I get so many compliments on them. So
because it's you're shopping unique for unique stuff that nobody, you know what I mean? And that's the community you want to be a part of. Like, that's where you want, and that's the community you want to support, So, oh my gosh, Sarah, I've had a blast chatting with you. So awesome.
Thank you so much.
Everybody needs to know Sarah Price from SoShop, and you guys got to go check out her account. Go check out, be a part of the November vendor. I can't wait to see you guys join. DM me if you guys watch this and you're going to do it, because I'm so excited to be a part of this community. This is a great, great way for solopreneurs, handmade solopreneurs, to get their name out there and to be a part of something really, really special. And thank you so much for doing this interview with me. And right, and her link is below, so in the description. Be sure to like and comment and share this video if you know any other makers that can benefit from watching this interview. All right, guys. Until next time. Bye, Sarah. Until next time. God bless.